Okay, so we go in, me and Brian, and we follow like this group of like typical Smith dudes, and we're following them. We go up, and it hasn't started yet. So Brian's like, "Oh, you want to go to the bathroom?" I'm like, "Okay." So we go to the bathroom. We're like peeing, and we wash our hands. And then we go in, and like we sit down. Were you there when we introduced ourselves?
Yeah, remember I asked to sit at a table, and then the guy said no.
Did you?
Yeah, I was like, "Can I sit here?" He's like, "No."
Oh, okay, that's what he did. So we sat down, and then Brian saw some guy that he knew, and Brian's like, "Shoot, I gotta bounce. I gotta bounce." I'm like, "Are you serious? Like, you gonna do this solo?"
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it sucked.
He looked right at me, dude.
Yeah, so he's looking at Brian. Brian's like, "I gotta bounce." He's like, "Here's the flip." I'm like, "You're really leaving?" Just freaking left. I'm like, So I like pretend I'm texting on my phone, so like I don't have to make eye contact with them or anything. And so the guy's like, looking around. He's like, "Hey man, what's your name?" I'm like, "Oh hey, I'm Nick." He's like, "Oh okay. You just like what floor are you on?" I'm like, "Oh crap." I'm like, 3B. He's like, "Oh." He's like, what part of 3B?" I'm like, towards the end. He's like,
oh my god.
He's like, "Really?" And like there's like 3 other guys like, "We're on 3B at the end." And I was like, I know. I was like, wait. I was like, "Oh." He's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "Maybe it's 3D. Is that the one by the street?"
What?
Yeah. No, that's what they said. They're like, "Is it 3D, the one by the street?" I was like, "Oh, I think that's what it is." They're like, "Oh, your RA is so-and-so." I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Who's your roommate?" I was like, "Justin." They're like, "Oh, okay." I just pulled the name out of my butt. And so they're just talking, like, the RD comes up, I don't know his name. And he's like he's like nice, and he's like, "We want to win, but it's all about teamwork and hard work." I'm like, whatever. This is so weak. And they had a video and it didn't even work. I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. And so at the end, they had that, or not the end, it was like towards the end, they had this rap that totally stuck, but it started like bashing R. Smith. And so while the rap is going on, like all the RAs are at the front, like whispering with each other. I'm like, oh, whatever. And so the RD comes up. He's like, "Well, I've just been in." Oh, and David came in. He was like taking pictures and like.
Middle, man. I was standing on a chair.
Yeah, the whole time during like the boring part where like they're like, "What it is to be a man." I'm like, "Whatever."
I got that too.
Yeah, you got that. And David's like taking videos and just like looking around and like I don't know, it kind of went unnoticed. And so David bounces right after the rap. And so right after the rap, they come up and they're like, "We've been informed that there might be a Smith intruder in here, or from APU."
Oh gosh.
Like, "Oh, you freaking kidding me?" And so they're like, "So everyone at your table, make sure that person's from Cal Baptist." And they look right at me, and the guy who I introduced myself to, I totally butchered like the 3B, 3D rap. So he's like, I was like, "What?" I was like, "I'm on 3D. He's like, I was like, I feel like it was that guy with the video camera. Like, "Oh yeah, okay."
Because David already left?
David already left. And they're like, "Oh, that's probably what it was." And they're like, "Alright, well, the RAs are going to scope it out." So the RAs are like weaving through because it was like, I don't know, it was like 20 tables instead of rows. Well, I didn't want to get out because like, someone's an intruder. Like, they run out. And so the RAs are like walking around the table. People are like, "Oh, I don't know." And like, they're like looking behind the curtains. I'm like pretending I'm looking like it. No. And then they showed like videos that were super like, they had an APU mannequin, like these were more insulting. They had like an APU mannequin like bashing with a baseball bat and like throwing footballs at it and stuff.
Oh my god.
Like, APU! Like, they're like talking to the mannequin, it's like, "Is it true you don't believe in hell?" And the mannequin's just like standing there, obviously.
What?
I don't know.
Doctorate!
I know, I'm like, "Oh, theological blows." And so, they're just like bashing us, and then they came up and started talking about the games, and it started getting boring again. And then they took like the CBU Smith Hall oath, and so they're like doing it, and I'm just like mouthing along, like, "I don't really care." And so, and at the very end, and then like Aaron, where's Aaron? The whole time like texting me like, "Get out now! You need to come, get out!" Like I freaking can't. I'm gonna get up and be like, they're gonna know I'm the intruder. And so at the end they're like, "Alright, we're gonna do a Smith Hall huddle to send us off." I was like, and so everyone's like getting up, and I just ran down to Aaron's car and it's like, "Dude."
And that was after you guys had all got busted and stuff, or right?
Yeah.
Probably